In the shadows of tension, three powers stand at the edge of history. Iran is preparing for war. Trump is doubling down. Russia is calling for restraint. This is not just geopolitics. This is a test of will, a clash of pride, and a moment where silence could cost lives. But in chaos, we find clarity. And in pressure, true power emerges. This is your reminder, no matter how fierce the storm, those who rise with purpose never fall in fear. Let's break it down. Iran's military buildup is not a display for the cameras. It's a calculated stance rooted in decades of resistance, survival, and a deeply embedded national pride. From the outside, it may seem like provocation, but from within, it's a declaration: we are still standing. And standing strong despite crippling sanctions, cyber attacks, assassinations of key scientists, and years of political isolation. When Iran prepares for war, it's not just preparing missiles, troops, and strategies, it's preparing a mindset that tells every citizen, every soldier, and every leader, surrender is not an option. This moment didn't happen overnight. It is the outcome of long-standing pressure, cornering diplomacy, and broken promises from powers that once sat at the negotiating table. Iran remembers. It remembers being promised relief, only to receive more pressure. It remembers deals made and then torn apart. And now, as military drills intensify, as alliances tighten, and as its leaders speak in unshaken voices, Iran is sending a message. If you push us to the edge, we will not fall. We will fight. There's a kind of power in being underestimated. Iran has built its defenses in deserts, under mountains, and across vast networks of proxies, not to show off, but to survive. It doesn't just prepare for a strike, it prepares for endurance. Its strength lies not only in hardware, but in history. From the revolution of 1979 to the 8-year war with Iraq, to countless confrontations with Western powers, Iran has survived storms that would have broken smaller nations. Now, as it prepares once again, it's not out of choice, but out of necessity. It knows that sometimes peace isn't handed to you. Sometimes peace is earned through the threat of strength. And while the world may interpret these actions as escalation, for Iran, this is defense. This is survival. This is their moment of clarity. If war is brought to their door, they will not answer with fear. They will respond with fire. But beyond the missiles and the military lies something more potent: belief. Belief in identity. Belief in sovereignty. Belief that their story won't end in submission. And in that belief lies a lesson for us all. That true strength is not about seeking conflict, but being unafraid to face it when it comes. Iran stands not because it wants war, but because it refuses defeat. And that spirit, unbroken, unbending, is what the world must understand. When a nation prepares for war, not to conquer, but to defend its very right to exist, you are witnessing more than a military strategy. You are witnessing a soul unwilling to be silenced. Donald Trump has never been one to back down from a challenge. His strategy has always been built on confrontation, to push, pressure, and project strength until the other side blinks. And in the case of Iran, Trump has made one thing unmistakably clear. He's not here to negotiate from a position of weakness, from reimposing sanctions to walking away from the nuclear deal. Every move was designed to corner Tehran and make it rethink its path. But beneath the tough talk and hardened policy lies a fundamental message. Power, in Trump's view, belongs to those who act, not those who hesitate. In Trump's world, hesitation is surrender. He believes in showing force to avoid being forced. His administration's approach to Iran wasn't diplomacy first, it was pressure first. And the goal was simple: maximum leverage. Whether through economic chokeholds, targeting Iran's oil exports, or taking out high-value figures like Qasem Soleimani, Trump made it clear that the U.S. under his watch would not tolerate ambiguity. Iran was either a partner to peace, under American terms, or a threat to be neutralized. Doubling down isn't just a political stance. For Trump, it's a signature move. When criticized, he escalates. When doubted, he asserts harder. In his eyes, compromise is weakness. That's why even now, as tensions rise and the world watches nervously, Trump's tone remains resolute. If Iran crosses a line, the response will be swift and overwhelming. No second chances, no drawn-out warnings, just decisive action. But this posture isn't just about Iran. It's about projecting American dominance on the global stage. Trump wants allies to know they are protected, enemies to know they are watched, and the world to know that under his leadership, America acts, it doesn't beg. That kind of leadership may divide opinion, but it undeniably commands attention. It reminds us that in a world of uncertain voices and shifting alliances, some figures still choose bold over cautious, fire over finesse. There's something deeply motivational in this stance. Whether you agree with his policies or not, it's about conviction. It's about standing firm in your decisions, even when the consequences are heavy. In life, we all reach points where retreat feels safer. But those who rise, who truly lead, are the ones who double down when the pressure hits hardest. Trump's doubling down on Iran isn't just geopolitical, it's psychological. It's a lesson in endurance, in decisiveness, and in the will to confront conflict rather than run from it. He believes the path to peace often runs through the battlefield of willpower, and whether or not war comes, his posture teaches a deeper truth, that strength is not always found in peace talks. Sometimes it's in the readiness to fight for what you believe is right. And in that readiness, a leader reveals who they truly are. In a world consumed by noise, there's something powerful about calm. Russia's response to the rising tension between the United States and Iran hasn't been filled with threats or emotional outbursts. Instead, it's been deliberate, restrained, and clear. De-escalate. Where Trump raises the stakes and Iran prepares for retaliation, Russia offers a chilling reminder that every action taken in haste can ignite consequences far beyond what anyone can control. This is not weakness, it's calculation, because true strength is not always shown by force. Sometimes it is measured by control. Russia's leadership knows the weight of war. It has been through it. It has lost to it. It has rebuilt from it. And so when it speaks now, it does so not with panic, but with experience, with insight, with a quiet authority that whispers rather than shouts, "Be careful, you're playing with fire." While Washington and Tehran lock horns, Russia positions itself as the stabilizer in the storm, not because it lacks power, but because it understands what's at stake. A full-scale conflict in the Middle East wouldn't just impact Iran or the United States. It would ripple across oil markets, ignite regional instability, and threaten global alliances. Russia knows this. And while it has its own alliances and interests, especially with Tehran, its warning isn't just diplomatic, it's deeply strategic. Calling for restraint isn't weakness, it's wisdom wrapped in patience. And in moments like this, restraint is the harder path. It's easy to retaliate. It's easy to escalate. What's hard is holding back when you know you could do more. That's the difference between a reaction and a response. That's the difference between impulse and intelligence. In our own lives, we're constantly pushed to respond with fire. Someone disrespects us, we fire back. Someone challenges us, we react. But Russia's stance in this crisis reminds us that maturity is measured by our ability to control the urge to overreact. Restraint doesn't mean silence. It means strategy. It means choosing your moment, protecting your position, and thinking beyond the emotion of the moment. Russia's voice in this situation serves as a mirror for the rest of the world. It challenges both superpowers, America and Iran, to think, to pause, to ask themselves, what's the end game? Because wars don't end when the bombs drop, they end when the wounds stop bleeding. And too often, those wounds stretch for generations. So while Iran prepares for defense and Trump prepares for domination, Russia prepares for the fallout. It prepares for the silence that follows the gunfire and the diplomacy that must rebuild what rage tears apart. And in doing so, Russia delivers a simple message, one that we all must remember in the chaos of conflict. Just because you can strike doesn't mean you should. Sometimes the strongest move you can make is the one you don't. The world watches closely, not just with curiosity, but with concern. Iran is mobilizing. Trump is intensifying. Russia is cautioning. And the rest of us governments, citizens, ordinary people are caught in the echoes of their decisions. But this isn't just about politics. It's about something much deeper. Because when world powers prepare for war, they're not just shifting armies, they're shaking the very idea of peace, and the ground beneath all of us begins to move. This is a global moment, and whether you're sitting in a newsroom in New York, a village in Pakistan, a cafe in Berlin, or a street in Tehran, this matters to you, because wars don't need your permission to change your life. Oil prices spike, borders tighten, fear spreads, and suddenly, the decisions made by leaders thousands of miles away begin to affect what you pay at the store, where you can travel, how safe you feel, and what kind of world your children will inherit. But here's the thing. While governments fight with sanctions and missiles, people fight with belief, with resilience, with awareness. And in moments like these, awareness becomes power. You must not look away. You must not shrug it off. Because history is being written right now, in real time, and the greatest tragedy would be to sleepwalk through it. This is not just about Iran, Trump, or Russia. It's about you. How will you respond when tension rises? When you're cornered? When the pressure becomes unbearable? Because the truth is, every major conflict on this planet started from a moment of choice, a miscalculation, a failure to pause, a refusal to listen. And every human being, regardless of power, faces those same choices every day. We are all being tested, not just by what happens on the world stage, but by how we carry ourselves through it. Do we act with fear, or do we move with awareness? Do we consume headlines and stay helpless, or do we become the kind of people who ask hard questions, who speak when others are silent, who lead even when we're not in charge? The world is fragile right now, and the decisions of a few are shaking the future of many. But you are not powerless. Your voice matters. Your awareness matters. Your refusal to be indifferent matters. Because silence in the face of rising danger is the first surrender. So yes, the world is watching, but more importantly, you are watching, and that watching must turn into wisdom. Let the tension in the world awaken strength in you. Let it sharpen your senses. Let it deepen your empathy. And let it remind you that peace is not something to be expected. It's something to be demanded, protected, and fought for in your own way. Don't look away. Lean in. Because in a world burning at the edges, the observers who choose awareness are often the first to become change makers. This moment isn't just a headline. It's a turning point. The kind of moment that future generations will study, question, and reflect on, asking how the world allowed things to go this far, and why leaders chose fire over dialogue. But within this chaos, there's a powerful opportunity, a chance to rise above fear, politics, and pressure, and to remember something essential. Clarity often comes not in calm, but in conflict. Iran prepares for war, not because it desires destruction, but because it refuses domination. Trump doubles down, not because he seeks chaos, but because he believes strength must be shown, not spoken. Russia calls for restraint, not because it lacks capability, but because it understands the consequences of uncontrolled escalation. And somewhere in the middle of all this, the truth lives, a truth that reveals how quickly power can become poison if not handled with purpose. This is why this moment matters, not just to diplomats or defense analysts, not just to soldiers on the front lines or presidents in their palaces. It matters to students, teachers, mothers, fathers, workers, artists, you. Because when the world teeters on the edge of conflict, the ripple effect touches every life. It shifts economies. It changes borders. It takes sons from mothers. It burns dreams that took decades to build. And yet moments like these also awaken something rare. They strip away comfort. They expose priorities. They reveal the true face of leadership and the lack of it. Most importantly, they force every one of us to confront a vital question. What do I stand for when peace is under threat? Because silence doesn't protect us. Indifference doesn't save us, and hope without action is nothing but illusion. In times like these, we need more than just speeches. We need strength that isn't rooted in ego, but in purpose. We need courage that doesn't provoke war, but prevents it. We need voices that rise not just to condemn, but to lead. And we need individuals, ordinary people with extraordinary clarity. People who understand that peace doesn't come from weakness. It comes from wisdom. It comes from those who are brave enough to face the fire and say, not this way. We must become those people. Each of us, because war may begin with governments, but peace begins with people, with how we speak, how we act, how we think, how we treat each other, even in disagreement. The world may be preparing for the worst, but we must prepare for something greater. A future where conflict isn't the default, but the exception. Let this be your call, not just to watch history unfold, but to shape it. Let this moment not scare you, but sharpen you. Because when leaders clash and nations threaten, and fear spreads, that's when clarity matters most. That's when true power isn't about launching missiles, it's about standing for something greater than yourself. Something the world still desperately needs, peace with purpose. Iran prepares for war. Trump doubles down. Russia calls for restraint. And the world waits. But remember this, history is not written by those who shouted the loudest. It's written by those who acted the wisest. Let you be among the wise.